You look insane. So the judge had to sentence him to protect you from him because you is so messed up in the brain that you don't know that you in love with the beta. You got the Stockholms, girl. Shit, all you Diddy bitches got the Stockholms.
Yellow diamonds look like PP.
He had Paula, a Brazilian model whom he just had to have. Kendra was placed on the back burner while he wooed the Brazilian. With the intention of sealing the deal, he invited her to Miami one weekend when Diddy was hosting a party there. He wound up slipping it to sexy Paula at 3 o'clock in the morning on the beach at the Shore Club. Then they came back to New York and she started acting like she owned him. 4 weeks later, Paula was out and Kendra was back in. Not officially back in. She spent the night last weekend. He'd meant to call her sometime during the week, but never did. He'd gotten 2 blowjobs in the last week. One in the wine cellar at Lent and another in the bathroom at Villa. Then he'd run into Paula the other night on his way out of heaven, and her sad brown eyes had seemed to plead, "Monty, baby, what happened to us?" So he had no choice but to usher the poor thing into his car and let her come home with him. Sorry, Kendra, all booked up this week. I'm going to keep saying this forever and a day. You niggas going to learn. People that are bright, especially men, you gotta know that you can't just keep messing with these women's heads. It's fun to you to pick a woman up and put her down, knowing that she knows that the only way she can get to you is through her body. So, okay, if she gonna give me her body like a dummy, then I'm gonna take it and then I'm gonna throw her back away. Not even understanding the mental damage that you're doing to these women. I'm finding it disgusting that Lamont is having this characteristic of a teenage boy. Like, Lamont is in his 40s or close to his 40s. I can't remember. Why are you acting like this? Why are you sleeping with all these different women who you know goddamn well if you didn't have this money, they wouldn't hunt your chubby ass or thick-thighed ass? Lamont waltzed out of the bathroom and jumped in surprise again. A platinum blonde Amazon who obviously enlarged breasts were spilling out of her demi cup was climbing into the bed with Kendra. Where had this one been hiding? "Happy birthday, honey," Kendra cooed. But Kendra know 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't have that ninja that night if you didn't tell him, "Oh, I got a super surprise for you. It's a bitch." "Happy birthday, honey," Kendra cooed. "My birthday isn't for another 2 months. It's a belated birthday present," Kendra said cheekily. "I didn't get you anything last year." Lamont beamed. F the whole model party. He was having his own model party right here. 3 ways were always a welcome departure from routine, but they were hard to come by. Setting one in motion usually required some spur of the moment coaxing, and for him, full-on hedonism didn't happen that way. Only blowjobs did. There was no way to get 2 tipsy girls tested on the way home from a club. And honestly, where was the fun if you had to use rubbers? Her paperwork is on the table, Kendra announced as she strolled into the bathroom to get the toys she had stashed under the sink earlier. Lubricant and a lavender-colored jackrabbit vibrator. Yeah, for him. For him and his butt. One thing about Kendra, she was thorough. When he and Kendra had been together, they had managed to menage on occasion. Kendra found the girls, She knew exactly what type he liked and had the test done by Lamont's doctor. Lamont instantly became rock hard. He hurried towards the bed, barely glancing at the test results. He trusted Kendra, and that was a comforting feeling because after the fiasco with Emma, the junkie model, he'd been so worried that he'd caught something that he couldn't get it up for anyone for 3 days. The doctor said he was all clean, but to check back in 6 months. Pause. I had an argument with, not an argument, but a debate with someone when I had to explain to them that, okay, I tested negative today, but I still need to go back in 6 months and test again. The asshole did not understand. I don't understand why you got to go back in 6 months because that was the standard then. Because I'm not in the medical industry or I'm not clinical, I didn't understand that things have changed and that's not necessarily the same way now. But I hadn't been educated since I'm gonna say the early 2000s or even the late. I hadn't been educated on it. So even though I was monogamous with the lady, I still tested every 6 months, and it was something that just was embedded in me because of what I was told. Now it's different. You test, you got it, you don't got it, and you keep moving. If you got it, you're still good because they got medications to make sure that you're good. I didn't know that. Now you don't need to take tests every 6 months. This book is written in a time where your test negative now, but you better come back in 6 months because it may not show in your blood work until 6 months later. The doctor said he was all clean, but to check back in 6 months. Models couldn't F with them. Couldn't F without him. Good old Kendra was obviously trying to get back with him. And boy, oh boy, she was doing a fine job of it. You know who this remind me of? That goddamn Gina, huh? Girl, how you go on Tasha K 1 year and say how Diddy was abusing the F out of you and you was his little secret punching bag or something because Cassie was his public punching bag, right? But you go on Tasha K and you say all the nasty, disgusting things that Diddy did to you, and then you turn around and you write a letter to the judge and beg to release the person that whooped your ass and was doing all kinds of terrible things to you. Girl, you don't look sane. You look insane. So the judge had to sentence him to protect you from him because you is so messed up in the brain that you don't know that you in love with the beta. You got the Stockholms, girl. Shit, all you Diddy bitches got the Stockholm. Good old Kendra was obviously trying to get back with him, and boy, oh boy, she was doing a fine job of it. He hadn't had a threesome since they broke up. His reason for dumping her, simple boredom. Whatever he wanted to do, she was down. But after a while, that got tired. Pause. I'm talking a lot, forgive me. One thing you got to do is you got to know how to connect to someone outside of the sex because the sex gets boring. You know, it could be fun and then they pull back from you, but you got to touch that ding, that heart. You got to touch that heart or that brain. And I'm telling you, if you can put someone in a good place mentally, baby, they're going to hold on to you forever. They're never going to want to let that go because when they talk to you, you make them feel good. It's you don't know that when you're young because you think that all you have to offer is a fat ass or a pretty face or something like that. But if a person allows you in and you like them, you better jump in, girl. Oh God. I mean, kick the door in. When were women going to learn that unpredictability was what kept a ninja's dick hard. Don't pick up that phone. Unattainability is everything. She had never pressed him to take their relationship further, not in any overt way. But she was running up fast to 30, a dangerous marker for a single woman. Right after her 28th birthday, when they'd been together almost 2 years, she'd started giving off unmistakable "where is this going" vibes. One morning, he rolled over, looked at her, and wished she weren't there. 2 days later, he gave her the "it's not you, it's me" speech, version 6. And then she wasn't. But Kendra wasn't boring him tonight. Lamont undressed down to his silk boxers and flung the covers off the blonde. Without saying a word to her, he peeled back the bit of black lace that was barely covering her pink titty ball and hungrily took it out of the corner of his eye. He saw Kendra pulling her negligee over her head and reaching for the light switch. "Lights stay on," he barked. Then a positional switcheroo afforded some Lamont and Blondie action, during which Kendra had a forceful squirting. Oh, wait. What? Wait, whoa. Oh, okay. That's a little. Y'all need to get the book for that. While Kendra took a break and went to the kitchen to get Lamont his sugar fix, Blondie was allowed to pleasure him with an "I don't really care for them, but be my guest" job. What? After 3 hours of actual athletics, Kendra was exhausted. The blonde was gone, and alas, Lamont found himself feeling bored once again. I guarantee you that lady was yeah. Kendra, oh my God, if that ain't Diddy and Cassie. I just realized that's Diddy and Cassie. After 3 hours of actual athletics, Kendra was exhausted. The blonde was gone, and alas, Lamont found himself feeling bored once again. Kendra hopped in the shower, and Lamont flicked on the plasma television hanging on the wall opposite his king-size bed. He idly surfed the hundreds of channels until he saw a little boy in a too big suit singing a gospel song. Showtime at the Apollo. The kitty acts. Kendra came back smelling fruity fresh and prepared for more, if necessary. Lamont's mind was elsewhere. He grabbed the phone and hit the speed dial. "I want a kid," Lamont said wistfully, foregoing any introductory pleasantries like hello. Kendra looked up from her lotioning her elbows. "What did you say?" Daryl yelled into the phone from his booth at Lent, where he'd answered Lamont's call. Why the fuck is he on the phone with Daryl talking about he want a kid? "I want a kid," Lamont repeated. Kendra immediately dropped her lotion and began to rub his back. Lamont turned and looked at her strangely. "What?" Daryl shouted, walking toward the club's bathroom. He huddled in a corner with a finger in his free ear. Lamont heard a lot of background noise. "Where are you?" "The IMG model party at Lent," Daryl was happy to report. "Bitches up in here is sick. Elite has hotter chicks," Lamont commented. "A kid," Daryl said. "Yeah, everyone else has kids." Kendra tried to climb on top of him. She'd been thinking of putting some ice on her privates, but she was a trooper, meaning that thing is swollen. He wore that thing out. You know why? Because he was in there with that Sierra. If Lamont wanted a baby, they could make one right now. Who was he talking to? Some other girl right in front of her? Oh my God, thank you so God. Thank you, God. I am old and smart. Oh my God, just thinking, oh, thank you, God, I'm old and smart.